Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith, and the moment that you've been waiting for has arrived. I am going to be the umpteenth person this weekend to give you their CFL Grey Cup predictions. And before you say, why in the world should I listen to you, I'll tell you why. Because I just crushed my CFL award predictions a few days ago, and I'm feeling pretty lucky. For those of you out in Winnipeg, bundle up, it's going to be a fun one. And for those of you watching at home, I'm sure that TSN is going to do what they do every time. They're going to bring it, and it's going to be an awesome day of Canadian football. Listen, it's no secret I'm a huge CFL fan, and Grey Cup Sunday, to me, is pretty much my personal Canada Day. Don't get me wrong, I love Canada Day, but there's just something special about Grey Cup Sunday. Whether you're at the Grey Cup, whether you're watching with family, it's just amazing. It is a celebration of our game, and tomorrow will be no different. Two fantastic teams will take the field, and we've given you a bit of a preview of those over the last few days. The iconic Edmonton Eskimos, CFL royalty, looking for their first championship in years as they go to their first Grey Cup in over 10 years. Against an Ottawa franchise where a lot of people weren't sure if they were going to make it onto the field to begin with, Friends of Lansdowne, but not only did they make it, not only have they survived, but now they've thrived, and in their second year, a Grey Cup appearance. And if that wasn't enough to get you excited about the good old Red Blacks, how about a few days ago at the CFL Awards where they pretty much dominated the CFL Awards? Now, first, I want to say to everybody, I'm wearing an Apple shirt. People are probably wondering, Keith, you're talking about the CFL. Why aren't you wearing any CFL attire? Well, quite frankly, I'm not wearing any CFL attire for this blog because I want you to know that I'm even like Steven when it comes to making my prediction. I'm not going to come out here in an Eskimo jersey or in a Red Blacks jersey. I'm going to come out to in an Apple jersey. Why Apple? Well, because I'm thinking at least half of the people watching the game at the stadium and at home will have some sort of an Apple product. So to those people, okay, let's break down this game now, shall we? As far as the offense is concerned, the quarterback advantage has to go with the Red Blacks. I'm sorry, most outstanding player, boom. We're going to go with Burris. The running game's a bit of a toss-up, but I'm probably going to have to give the edge to Edmonton for the simple fact that Jeremiah Johnson went down, probably not playing in this game, and Powell, as good as a running back as he is, can't necessarily say that he's going to be able to carry a huge load of the offense on his shoulders. The wide receivers, you have to go with Ottawa for the simple fact you've got 4,000-yard receivers. Offensive line, I also think is an advantage to Ottawa as well. But here's the thing. They say that defense wins championships, offense wins games. And I tend to agree with that. From a defense standpoint, you kind of have to give the edge to Edmonton. They do boast the best defense in the CFL. Special teams is an interesting factor as well. Again, we've seen some great special teams from a kicking standpoint coming from Ottawa lately, but the return game's a little suspect. A lot of people are saying that Henry Burris has to be perfect in this game. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, I'm not looking for Burris to go out and make a bunch of interceptions and fumble and walk away with the Grey Cup. But to be perfect? Is that a thing? Really? We're being perfect now? Who is perfect in sports? Everybody makes mistakes. And before we start playing a blame game, let me say whether it's Ottawa or Edmonton that loses, you win as a team and you lose as a team. I don't care if a kicker misses a field goal at the end of the game. My question will be, okay, you want to blame the kicker, but why weren't you in a position where you could have scored a touchdown? Or why weren't you in a better position for him to make the kick? You can't do that. It's nonsense. Anyways, to me, the game doesn't break down to whether or not Henry Burris plays perfectly. It comes down to who is going to execute their plays better. Now, we've seen situations early on in this season where Henry Burris had problems connecting. And one of the things that you know with Burris is that he doesn't seem like he loves to run the ball. So if his pocket collapses, there can be issues. So if you're the Edmonton Eskimos, you want to make sure that you're disrupting Burris as much as possible. But that's going to be difficult because you've got that fantastic offensive line in front of him. And on the flip side of things, you've got Mike Riley, the quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos, who I'm sure has got a lot to prove in this game. While you've got Henry Burris, who's trying to firm up his legacy, you've got Mike Riley, who's trying to establish his. Mike Riley's a very good quarterback, but this is going to be the first time that he's actually played on this stage. Don't get me wrong, he's got a Grey Cup ring, but from a backup role. not from a starting role. It's going to be a lot different. As far as temperature is concerned, I don't necessarily think it's going to factor either team. It is the CFL, and if you were in Ottawa last week, you know it wasn't exactly July weather. So I think from a weather standpoint, things are going to be pretty even. When I say executing plays, is Ottawa going to be able to come and get strong field position from their special teams? That's going to be a big factor as well. If they're going to be pinned deep in their zone a lot, that's going to be problematic because Edmonton's defense is always ready to pounce. From a coaching perspective, I think both coaches are very good. Again, you kind of have to give the nod to Coach Campbell. I mean, he just won the award for Coach of the Year, but keep in mind he was up against Jones. So at the end of the day, who am I going with in this game? I think it's going to be a close game, and I mean, I could say it's close, I could say it's a blowout. At the end of the day, who do I think is going to win? I absolutely think that the Red Blacks can pull this game out. If this game is relatively close at halftime, I definitely think Ottawa has the ability of pulling this off and winning this. If Edmonton is able to get out to a substantial lead the way they were against the Calgary Stampeders, I don't see Ottawa being able to come back in the second half. So I pretty much said if it's a blowout at halftime, Edmonton wins. I get that. But again, bottom line, if you're saying Keith, who do you think is going to win in the Grey Cup? I think it's the Red Blacks. A lot is being made about the fact that Edmonton beat Ottawa earlier this season. To me, that's irrelevant. Mike Riley wasn't even playing then. It was a non-factor. Also, the fact that Ottawa has matured so much since then. And absolutely, you can sit back and you say, oh, Edmonton's won all of these games since then. But Edmonton hasn't played Ottawa in their last few games. They've beaten up teams that, quite frankly, Ottawa has beaten as well. And you can say that Ottawa's lucky and, oh, they got lucky at this game and they got lucky with that game. Years from now, when you pick up your tablet, when you go into the computer and you look at those records, all you will see is that Ottawa won those games. So that tells me that Ottawa has the ability to beat teams. If you had said in July, in August, and September that Ottawa would have won first place overall in the East, most people wouldn't have thought so. It looked like a runaway for Hamilton and Toronto. And what happened? Ottawa took first place in the East. All of the so-called experts right now seem to think that the Edmonton Eskimos are going to win the Grey Cup, and they very well might. I'm just not one of them. Check out this game, and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun things to talk about after, I have no doubt. Who do you think's going to win? I'd love to hear from you. CFL_fan on Twitter is how you can get a hold of me, and feel free to follow me. Facebook.com/WhittyWhittier and WhittyWhittier.com. There's my prediction. The Ottawa Red Blacks are bringing the Grey Cup back to Ottawa. For those in the YOW, get ready. It means we're going to have a parade, and a long overdue one. Thank you so much for checking this out. And that's my view from the 40.